What's up, guys? What's up? This is the super duper exclusive version of the Cloudy Podcast. I think I might do this every week if I have time, because you guys are my Patreons and I appreciate you guys. Now, there's going to be way less of you guys in here, and I mean way. Because, the Cloudy Podcast is still very small. And the Patreon is still very small. So you guys are getting very, very close access to this. There's a couple of you guys in here, emphasis on couple. So because it is this exclusive, and I'm going to keep the link open for my other Patreons to just, do whenever they want. This was impromptu. So clearly those of you who are in here were also in the Cloudy Podcast, because I did not announce this. But I think I'm going to make this a thing. I think every time I sit down on Mondays to do the podcast, I might as well just make it a thing to stay a little bit later and, give you guys what it is you want. Now, I did mention I was going to do a couple of things. I can potentially do some off the top fives. I'm really glad that I did the bonus episode on Thursday because I realized that I didn't have to prepare that much for top fives. Usually I try to get my thoughts together, but there's a couple of genres of top fives that I think I can do on the spot. Like if you were in the Cloudy Podcast today, I did office supplies and planets, top 5 planets off the top. So any of you guys who are in here watching, if you guys want to throw suggestions, it's pretty much your world at this point. Like I want to use these Patreon lives to give you guys an opportunity to not only shape the podcast, but to kind of just give your own, just get your own voice out there, whether it's a Q&A in the live chat or it's you giving top 5 suggestions, or it could even be as simple as, you saying next week, I want you to talk about this topic, or right now, I want you to talk about this topic. Like, let's say I didn't get to cover the Amazon today. If you thought that was important and wanted to hear my thoughts on it, you can jump on the Patreon live and ask me to talk about that. But the main thing that I promised to a few of you guys is the Majora's Mask scary story. So I'm going to read that and 3 other stories just to make sure that, by the time you guys watch this late at night, hopefully cuddled up with a boo and a blunt, you guys can have some scary internet stories to watch. So yeah, I'm going to just go into whatever. But, if any of the few of you guys, since there's so little of you guys in here, if you guys want to throw some suggestions or some top 5s in there, you can do your thing. But in the meantime, I am going to go right into this scariness and these top 5s. Now, in the Cloudy Podcast, I was asked to do the top 5 X-Men, mythical creatures, cartoons, colors, and fruits, which is pretty wild. But actually the top, I completely separated this because it got more votes. Top birds is for sure something I can do. Top birds are, I did, remember on the regular Cloudy Casts, I did top 5 land animals, and then I also did top water animals. That was today. So tomorrow, next week, I kind of want to move off of animals for a week. So maybe I'll do the top flighted birds right now. Hey, the lazy Cajun is up in this piece, and as you usually are. Uh, so for the lazy Cajun and the other few people who are in here, what's up, Defina? Like I was just saying, if you just joined, this is the Patreon exclusive. So use this as an opportunity to say, hey, do these top five, or maybe like, do this topic. I want you to talk about this topic. I will literally search it and give you guys my views on it. But until then, I'm probably just going to do the top birds, and then I'm going to go into some scary stories. Now, remember that this is more off the top of the dome. So we can shape it together. If you guys want to throw some suggestions in, you can for sure do that. But until then, I'm probably just going to go off the dizome. All right, so top birds. Top five birds. Low key, my number one bird is going to be the golden eagle. If you don't know what the golden eagle is, it is a beautiful bird. I actually got a chance to work with one when I did the animal show with Tony Baker, which did not come out. But if you were to look up a golden eagle, it is gorgeous. Number two is the eagle owl. This is an owl that has eagle abilities. Owls are always been dope to me. But this one is like an apex predator. Like this one is like an owl not to be messed with. So that's going to be my number two. Number three is a falcon, because I didn't know that they actually drop down on their prey. They take their talons and they make a fist and they punch the shit out of them until their neck breaks, which is the origin of the falcon punch. Number four is going to be a pelican. That's right. A pelican, the ones with the giant storage, if you will. I've always liked pelicans. I'm not sure. And then number five is an albatross. If you haven't seen one of those, I suggest you do. Albatrosses, they're huge. They got the wingspan that's almost damn near a person, and I truly believe that you can ride one. Honorable mention. Excuse me, the toucan. I really like toucans and puffins. They're like, to me, they're what penguins should be. They're like penguins that can fly, and they got like a cool, like penguins. They're useless. They're just like fat, chubby icebergs. Whereas the penguin and the puffin look like penguins, but they actually do stuff. And then unpopular opinion, crows, pigeons, and what's the third one? Crows, pigeons, and seagulls. They're like rats. They're like the rats of the bird community. Like, just, I could do without them. I can do without them. So that's my top five. Not a lot of opinions flying back, so I guess I'm just gonna move on past the top five birds. And I'm gonna go right into what I promised, which was the Majora's Mask, the haunted Majora's Mask. But not only that, see, I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to tell you guys the Majora's Mask story, because it's such a long story, and I don't want to be just sitting here just talking for hours, especially when it's so early in the growth of the Patreon, when it's not a lot of feedback coming back, which would be weird for a giant long story. So I not only did I found like some bite-sized versions of that story, I found 3 other ones. So this is from geek.com, and this is the 4 scariest but also most believable stories on the internet. One of those is the haunted Majora's Mask. So this will be the scary part of the segment. Excuse me, I'm going to turn the air conditioning off. But yes. All right. Hey, okay, Lazy Cajun, sorry I'm at work. Don't apologize. You are one of the very few early contenders. Also, shout out to my girl, Danielle Flowers. If you didn't see before, she gave me a Patrick lighter. I did not get a chance to use it on camera, but shout out to Danielle because this is the first time I'm ever using this lighter. The lighter works, and it has my face on it. Yeah. Hey, okay. Defina, what it do? Organized Mess, my guy. Of course, he's in here. The lighter is literally flames. I'm trying not to smoke so much on camera. But you guys are my patrons. I'm gonna be my clear, bare self for y'all. Shout out to Hazel. Don't be alarmed. There's no ghosts in here. All right. Now, these are the 4 scariest, most believable stories on the internet. If you are not in here with me live, I hope that you watch this in the dark and in a scary situation, because that's kind of becoming my thing online. All right. So the number one, I guess it's not in order. This one is called Squidward's Suicide. I actually watched a lot of SpongeBob this weekend. When I relax, I watch SpongeBob. SpongeBob and Adventure Time and The Office are like my go-tos. But Squidward, as you likely know, is a character from SpongeBob. In the cartoon, he's the token cynical grouch, right? So the creepypasta story originates from YouTube when an account posted about a lost episode of SpongeBob entitled Squidward's Suicide. It's pretty much told from the perspective of a person who interned at Nickelodeon Studios during 2005 as an animation student. So the student and some other coworkers received a tape to edit called Squidward's Suicide. And they initially assumed it was just an office prank, right? In the first-hand account, the video consists of Squidward sitting on a bed while strange and upsetting noises play and become louder in the background. The scene is spliced with quick flashes of dead children and gore. Each time the noise is getting louder and louder and cutting back to Squidward. His face shaded black with the eyes, his eyes are like turning red, right? Eventually, Squidward shoots himself after a detached deep voice commands it, and that's the end of the video. So an animator at Nickelodeon was sent this. The Nickelodeon employees assumed the footage must have been edited by someone who works in the office, so they checked the timestamp and found that to be true, but it was only edited 24 seconds before being given to them. So this is on some real creepy stuff. And then it ends with the authorities attempting to investigate the footage, but coming up empty. So what is that? Is that an animator's version of a prank? Because if you can, what's up? Sorry, it's Hazel. If you can imagine, if you're one of the animators at a huge show, you could pretty much, you're responsible for canon, if you think about it. If you are drawing and one of the main animators for something as big as SpongeBob or Adventure Time, if you decide to go off on your own and draw SpongeBob jerking off, that's technically canon because you're a Nickelodeon employee. What? What you want, cuz? What you want, attention? I'm shooting. Baby girl. Very cool. You know I can't resist. Sorry. When they need attention, they need attention. Hazel, she has to go to the bathroom. Damn, all in the middle of my podcast, cuz. Go in. Kids, you know. Yeah, I guess the people who were like legitimately drawing Squidward, or technically it couldn't have, maybe it was somebody who wasn't even that high up, like if they were willing to do that. Maybe it was just the people who draw the little barnacle clouds or those flower clouds, and then they were the ones who decided to do this. Who knows? But imagine if this was like the environment at Nickelodeon, like new interns, like let's mess with them on a canon level. That's crazy. You could literally be like, hey, edit this, and it'll be like SpongeBob doing like anti-Semitic messages with Patrick, like, and they're just like, wait, what? You can crazy mess with somebody in the animation world. So, another take on this, it says what makes the story so good is not that there's some kind of haunted editing machine, but that someone in real life could have edited the disturbing footage into the animation, as well as make the animation pretty easily, because it's Nickelodeon. But if you can imagine being an intern at Nickelodeon and then being like, oh, I'm working on one of the craziest shows ever. And then you're sent something like, yo, edit this. And it's Squidward shooting himself. You're like, yo, what season was this? Because Squidward would for sure be the nigga in Bikini Bottom to off himself. And I feel like Bikini Bottom is such a happy place. They wouldn't even know what suicide is. You know what I mean? They're like, he killed himself? They're like trying to like wrap their heads around it. Super Casual Boom. Always in here. Always in here. My guy. I feel like you know what? I feel like everybody who's left a comment in here so far is like, you guys are like the usuals. I appreciate you guys. We got the Lazy Cajun. We got Defina Watson. We got Organized Mess. And we got Super Casual Boom. That's like the starting. That ain't even 5 people. You guys are like and then there's a few other people, not everybody was able to make this, but you guys are tight. Even when I do stuff that I don't even push like that, like Twitch and all that other stuff, you guys are always there. I like that. He said, Super Casual Boom said, I mean, they got away a lot with Ren and Stimpy. Interesting. Explain more, Super Casual Boom. What else we got? Defina says a lot of messed up shit happens in kids' companies. Yes, that is 100% true. Lazy Cajun said that's creepy, but I'm not surprised Disney has some secrets too. Hey, who don't? Who don't? All right. So moving right along, the next creepy one is it's called Normal Porn for Normal People. It says it's perhaps the most disturbing, but it's basically about a chain email that advertised a website called normalpornfornormalpeople.com. It's a website dedicated to the eradication of abnormal sexuality, and the name causes the first person storyteller to visit the link. So the landing page was populated with a long rant the storyteller can't remember, and claims each word of the rant was a separate link. So imagine this as a forum of somebody trying to recall a story, right? After clicking on some links that led nowhere in particular, one link led to a download file called peanut.avi. The video shows nothing other than a woman making a peanut butter sandwich and a man setting the sandwich down for a dog who would eat it. This happened multiple times, but nothing out of the ordinary took place after that. The storyteller then goes on an image board after to discuss his findings, but discovers a thread someone else already made about the weird videos, each with fairly weird names, like lickedclean.avi. And it shows a repairman working on a washing machine. And then the repairman leaves, and the owner of the machine licks the top of it for 7 minutes. So it's just weird shit going on in this thread, right? Then there's another movie called Diana.avi, which features nothing more than a woman talking about then subsequently playing her violin. However, a user on the image board pointed out that if you look at the reflection of a mirror in the room, you can see a man in a chicken mask masturbating to the woman playing the violin. So imagine just being sent a video of a violin, girl playing a violin, and you're like, okay, that's weird. But then in the mirror, you see somebody like, yeah, play that violin. And then as you go down, the videos get a little bit creepier. One titled Stumps.avi involves a man with no legs dancing on a Dance Dance Revolutionary dance mat until he collapses out of exhaustion. I'll say that again. This was called Stumps.avi, Stumps. And it involved a man with no legs dancing on a Dance Dance Revolution dance mat until he collapsed out of exhaustion. However, he begins dancing. He begins dancing again when a man off camera screams at him to do so. So it's kind of like on some hostage situation type stuff. The original story discusses many off-putting videos that were discovered. Finally, the story ends with a video called useless.avi, in which a woman from a previous video is tied down to a bed, and a man in a black mask opens the door and lets in an adult chimpanzee, which has been completely shaved and painted red. I'm also going to say that again. The video is called useless.avi. A woman from a previous video that you just saw is tied down to a bed, and then an adult chimpanzee, which has been completely shaved and painted red, is let into the room. The chimpanzee then mauls the woman on the bed and eats her. So apparently this chimpanzee beat and ripped her apart and then ate her. And then it says, like all good stories, any trace of the videos or original image board thread cannot be found. So this has all been taken off the website. So the author's take on this, again, this is a place called geek.com. And all of this originated on Creepypasta, which is just a really fucked up website. It says you can't really trace this back to where it originated. But it basically says you can find staged versions of the videos floating around. So a lot of people like remade it. The story, however, is one of the internet's most chilling and one of the most frequently told. You can always find this one in a Reddit creepypasta. It'll always be the most chilling pastas you'll ever digest. So low-key, they didn't even break it down. They were just like, yo, this is fucked up. And it's clearly fucked up because everyone talks about this one particularly. So, yes, that was called Normal Porn for Normal People. And that was number 2 of 4. That is our halfway mark. Let me just check in to see what you guys are saying. Okay. What up, Robo Samuel? I don't even think I've met you yet. He said, I joined the squad because I forgot about Biker Mice from Mars. You must have been in the last podcast. I never thought I would get a new fan from saying that. But yes, Biker Mice from Mars and Street Sharks and Beetleborgs were all 3 shows from a big era of Saturday morning cartoons that I feel like went under the radar, and they killed it, and people liked them, but they didn't have staying power like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I agree with you on that. Welcome. We got Super Casual Boom. They did a lot of stuff where blood, bruising, body organs, butt jokes, whizzing on the electric fence board games, an episode about selling rubber nipples, etc. Oh, you're talking about Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, Ren and Stimpy was fucked up. I didn't really like the animation, to be honest. But yeah. What up, Crystal? Welcome. But yes, that was number 2 of the 4 fucked up, incredibly fucked up internet stories that are out there. All right, and here we are. This is the Haunted Majora's Mask. It's made from a dude named Ben Drowned. So his name is Ben Drowned. And this is a very popular story. So The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was one of the best video games of all time. Obviously, if you've been following me, you know that. Majora's Mask is creepy enough on its own. So it's basically about a world called Termina, and that has 3 days until the moon collides into it, ending all life. Link, the series hero, travels to Termina from Hyrule and relives those 3 days of doom over and over again until he can prevent the moon from crashing into the planet. Aside from that, a lot of the visual and audio assets are downright unsettling, and many of the NPCs are disturbed in some fashion. So it's not your typical quest givers whose dialogue is to further the quest. A lot of these people are very disturbing that you come along with. So If you don't know, Majora's Mask already has a lot of dark conspiracies about it. Probably the biggest one is that Link died. There's a scene in the beginning where he falls off of a cliff, and then he lands and it continues. But there's a huge conspiracy that he died, and this place, Termina, which is very close to Terminal, is basically limbo, and he can't move on, and he keeps reliving the same 3 days of Armageddon. So this story is about a haunted Majora's Mask cartridge. So the story originated from 4chan, where a user posted and reported experience that he had with a haunted Majora's Mask N64 cartridge. He noticed the cart had a saved file on it entitled Ben, as the game was previously used. So he started a new save, but all of the characters in the game still referred to him as Ben rather than the new save file's name. So if you know old school games, when it was everything was saved on the actual physical game. Imagine buying a used game and you see the previous owner's save file. You make a new save file and you name it like Patrick or Cloud, right? And all of the characters in the game are still calling you the last guy's name, which is Ben. That is fucked up. I'm sorry to curse, but that's really, really scary because that's on a technological level, which is you can't explain that at all. So he deleted Ben in an attempt to fix this little bug. And then the characters in the game wouldn't refer to him at all. So after he deleted Ben, they just didn't address him by name. He then attempted the 4th day glitch, a popular exploit that allowed players to play beyond the 3rd day, because usually after 3 days, the moon crashes and you have to restart. But there's a glitch where you can play a 4th day, right? I've never done it before. But from here on out, the players experience many strange and unsettling occurrences, such as textures and characters being missing from their usual locations. A texture within a game is like what makes grass grass, or what makes a stone wall, right? But what's really creepy about this is that there was also music being played backwards. So some of the music that you heard in the game was being in reverse, which is very creepy and I don't understand. But there was also new text appearing. So sometimes they'd talk to people and it would say, "You shouldn't have done that." Kind of getting chills telling this story. It's really, really freaking me out. Not only was the music being played backwards, there was new text saying, "You shouldn't have done that." And I know this game, so this is freaking me the hell out. It says the 4chan user then uploaded a bunch of videos to YouTube as proof that the cartridge was actually haunted. And the videos did show crazy happenings within the game engine. So there are videos of him seeing this text, "You shouldn't have done that," which doesn't appear in the game usually. It says eventually the 4chan user's college roommate posted a message and said the user moved out of the dorm, but left a final movie and text file. So I guess this the person who originally posted this left, and their roommate post what they left behind. The movie and text file indicated that the ghost of Ben, who haunted the cartridge, moved into the computer used to post the thread that we're talking about, with the implication that he would soon break out into the world. I'm gonna say that one more time. So the first dude who's posting all this dipped, right? His roommate went on his computer and found out that the dude left a message and a file. And the message said that the ghost of Ben, who haunted the cartridge, moved into the computer and posted this whole thread and would break out pretty soon. That's very, very creepy. It says that the people who originally posted this wrote it off as an elaborate hoax. Then it says that A video was eventually uploaded to YouTube showing how it was done. The original Ben Drowned creepypasta is a great tale when read on its own, but it is more unsettling if you're familiar with Majora's Mask, which is much more twisted in practice than Nintendo likely planned. So much like a lot of creepypasta videos, it was proved as fake, which is fine. Like, I don't 100% believe in a lot of these things, but I think that reading about them, it's like Bigfoot for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe in Bigfoot, or I think that there's a Bigfoot like walking around out there, but like hearing stories about the folklore and like hunting it is amazingly entertaining to me. Yep. Very freaky stuff. Very freaky stuff. Lazy Cajun, I don't know if you shouldn't just buy used games because they are cheaper, and used games, it's weird. Like, I understand why you wouldn't want to buy like a used mattress because of cleanliness, but like for a game, like, yeah, buy a used game. Who cares? Just delete whatever the fuck they had before and you have a cheaper game. I don't get like the bouginess of needing like a brand new game. You know what I'm saying? But they could be cursed. They could be. It's very rare, but most likely, I would suggest to just get a used game, because considering this is the only like written evidence of a cursed game ever and it's fake, you should be good. Just take that discount, because you're for sure going to need money more than you can risk a curse. You know what I mean? Like, money you're for sure going to need. A curse may or may not happen. So get that used game. You know what I mean? Lazy Cajun, don't let me swerve your bank account in any way. Okay, so Crystal doesn't even play video games, but the story is pretty interesting. I mean, you can just imagine, like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna just break that down for people who don't play video games. So essentially, this guy bought a used video game, and even though he didn't play the save file that was, obviously left by the buyer of the video game, the characters all referred to him as if he was playing the original save file. And then it got to the point where characters were missing, specific things in the game were missing, and they started saying things that they weren't supposed to say at all, like, you shouldn't have done that, or you shouldn't be here, or whatever. So yeah, essentially he bought this game, and the ghost of whoever had it before him was messing with him. Now, the original story, the reason I didn't read it on my actual podcast is it is like 30 pages long. So obviously you guys are first in line to for opinions. Like, I will take your guys' opinions obviously very, very seriously. So if you guys think that long stories shouldn't be told, and I should maybe just stick to the stories I can tell very quickly. Oh, Jesus. Sorry about that. So if you can maybe just let me know, is it better just for short stories that I can just tell and then talk to you guys about real quick? Or if you think it's okay for me to tell a long story, let me know. I will listen to you guys. Right? 30 pages. Hell no. So I'll try to keep unless you guys don't agree with super casual boom, just let me know, and I'll make sure to I'll only tell like short stories that are digestible, if you will. Okay, so the last crazy but believable story on the internet is about an abandoned island by Disney. Disney apparently had a huge island that they abandoned, and now it's just chilling. So the story is about a supposed Jungle Book themed resort that Disney built in Emerald Isle in North Carolina. So it has a big palace in the center called Mowgli's Palace, after the movie's main character. And Disney reportedly purchased a ton of land in the area and pushed people out of their homes to make way for the resort, because Disney's just on that type of shit, right? Disney reportedly purchased a ton of, so they created a problem with the locals before construction of the project even began. Despite an uproar from the locals, Disney completed the project, and Mowgli's Palace was in operating capacity for a while, with vacationers staying at the resort. Then for some reason, Disney closed down the resort, and that was that. And the locals were happy. Okay. So Disney came through, fucked shit up, and then was like, never mind. The storyteller came across a blog post about someone in the Bahamas exploring a similar Disney resort called Treasure Island that was also suddenly abandoned, and reportedly extremely creepy and unexplained things were going on. So the storyteller goes to find Mowgli's Palace in Emerald Isle to see if it's equally interesting. He finds the resort, and within it finds a creepy abandoned place in disrepair. He explores the palace, finding locked hotel rooms and broken souvenirs, and hears the occasional unexplained noise. He finds signs with abandoned by Disney written on it above various gates, which is kind of weird to make a sign that says that. Overall, though, the trip ends up being a little boring for the explorer, and he pushes deeper into the resort in order to find some type of thing to take a picture that would make it worthwhile. He takes a picture of the giant python statue, then it slithers off, and he realizes he's in the reptile house of the resort. So I guess he says he takes a picture of the giant python statue, but then the statue slithers off, and he realizes, oh, I'm in the reptile house. That was a real snake. Shaken from the snake encounter, he looks for a chair to sit down to collect himself, but since there isn't anything, he remembers he saw some stairs and decides to sit on those to calm down. Again, abandoned by Disney sign, it was right there. And then there was a door that led to a place, and there was a sign that said mascots only. Exciting that the room behind might have some interesting artifacts, he breaks into the mascots only area. He found an untouched area with pens and papers, desk chairs, and other items that a workplace would have, right? He came across a door called Character Prep 1 that he can't open. And then he gives up and turns away. The door pops open as soon as he gives up. He turns away and walks away, and the door pops open. Then he goes inside, which I don't know if I would. He sees a bunch of mascot suits hanging on the wall, and is glad he finally finds something worth seeing. So he basically sees like a bunch of like Goofies and Mickeys. Kind of creepy, right? He fidgets with a Donald Duck costume, takes the head off, only to see a human skull fall out of the Donald Duck head. He then dashes towards the door, and then he decides to turn back and take a picture of the skull for proof. So he was like, hang on, wait 1 second. I did all this. Might as well get the likes on the gram. In the middle of the room on the floor, though, he sees a Mickey Mouse costume, but the coloring wasn't Mickey's usual yellow, red, and black. But it was a negative color set. So I don't know if you've ever seen a photo negative when everything is like the inverse colors, but I guess it's that. He says, as he attempts to take a picture, the photo negative Mickey gets up and asks if the storyteller wants to see it take its head off. So he turns around to take a picture and sees that, oh, there it goes again. I don't know if you could see my goosebumps right now. But recap, he fidgets with the Donald Duck costume, takes the head off, a human skull falls out. He runs away. It's like, hang on, let me take a picture of this skull. Turns around, there's a brand new Mickey Mouse costume, but it's not the usual colors. It's like an inverse color. Then that costume literally gets up and starts talking. And he asks, do you want to see me take my head off? It pulls at its head, and tons of sticky yellow blood pours out of the neck. Hang on. Here I am thinking that the Majora's Mask story was going to be the worst. Okay. So this costume stands up, says, do you want to see me take my head off. It pulls at its head and sticky yellow blood starts coming out of the neck. Then obviously the storyteller starts running again, and this time it notices a sign that says abandoned by God, not Disney. And then the story ends. So just to keep going, apparently this is a very popular creepypasta, and Mowgli's palace was never built on paper. The map used in various tellings of the creepypasta pasta is said to represent Mowgli's palace is a map of Treasure Island in Disney World, which was renamed to Discovery Island, which is abandoned. So there is an abandoned part of Disney World, but that is used to factually tell this creepypasta legend. I always like to pause between the time I hear the story and the time I hear the debunking, just so I can absorb all the information and feel how I want to feel, and then you hear that it's fake or not, right? This also had some legs because Disney apparently has a bunch of abandoned properties. So if you look into it, there's a lot of abandoned Disney places. But Mowgli's palace never existed. And to put the final nail in the photo negative Mickey coffin, sorry, that was really hard to say. A final nail in the photo negative Mickey coffin. The author of this story actually explained where he got inspiration. He said, there are more famous, terrifying creepypastas out there, such as The Grifter. So check that out, The Grifter plank. But if you really want to look it up, the author explains where he got his inspiration for the story. It was also inspired by Slender Man and stuff like that. But yes, that was for sure a creepy one. It almost reminds me of the time that there was like a group of people who did a fake documentary about finding mermaids. They said that they found mermaids. They did all this like camera work where they went to the bottom of the ocean and found like a hand, a webbed hand came against the window. There's like a lot of like weird video footage of mermaids, and they dropped this documentary, and it was like they looked like they were news anchors, and it looked totally legit. And 2 days later, they were like, we're just kidding, that was all fake. But for that 2 days, I remember seeing it when it first dropped. I was so happy. And me and all my friends were talking about it, and we were just like, damn, this is crazy, blah, 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 blah. And then they said it was fake, and we were like, oh, that makes sense. But those last 2 days were fucking awesome because we opened our mind to a new possibility and got to talk about it. And so it's no different than a trailer dropping or a Netflix series dropping that everybody talks about. You know what I mean? Like that Netflix series was probably fake, but talking about it and it intriguing you that much was so fun that it was worth it. So the thing with that mermaid thing, even though they were just kidding, they sparked so many interesting and fun arguments. So even though this was, clearly not something that was true, those 4 stories are a good time. And that's all I got to say about that. I would like to appreciate everybody who rocked with me all this time. I hope I didn't scare you guys, but like I said, these are all hoaxes, but they're all damn good stories. Defina said, I need a shot after this Disney story. I know, right? A lot of hell knows, which is why I know that the people who are watching this story would probably survive these stories because you guys probably would have ran out a long time ago. But that's why we have white people. That's why we have white storytelling, because we need people to stay long enough for a good story to happen. If the world was all black people, there'd be no scary stories. The Ring would be like, yeah, I think this tape was haunted, but I left it when I first thought. Or like, I think this was going to happen, but I left. Or this might have happened, but I left. If we didn't have white people, we would have no scary stories. Think about it. And that's where I'm going to leave you. White people are the reasons we have this level of storytelling, because although black people, we are a lot of fun, when it comes to scary stories, we're very boring because you don't get that far because of logic. But thank God for white people. Thank God for white people like the white people who were in the Mystery Machine or the Mystery Gang for Scooby-Doo. If that was 5 niggas, they would have been they probably would have just been homeless people who lived in that van, because it was like, damn, we have nowhere to stay tonight. Pull over right here. Not, I found a haunted castle. Let's just stay till Monday. Are you fucking kidding me, Fred? Are you fucking kidding me, Fred? If that was Jamal, he would have been like, there's a haunted castle. Let's drive 2 miles past it and park at this little viewpoint because there's security that gets there at like 7 a.m. Never any of that. But if it was 5 niggas in the 70s, they would have had to do that because of police. Super casual boom. Sorry, I was reading your message. You said Patrick's stuff is like Scooby-Doo stuff. Gives you chills, find out it's a hoax, then we freak when something weird legit happens. I like that. My scary stories are like Scooby-Doo because at some point I'm going to tell you it's fake, but the journey there is there. It's fire. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to Scary Stories, fake or not. Because honestly, I think I would ruin y'all day if I ended it with like, yeah, this is all true and the killer's still out there and have a good night. No, I think I owe it to you guys to be like, are you scared? Don't be, because it's all made up. And then you guys get to have the rest of your day. And then I can just shine positivity on you. And that's what you keep instead of like, oh shit, am I going to be murdered tonight? That's right, Defina. That's why we blacks are the survivors in life. But shout out to the white man for giving us storytelling at its best. I have been Patrick Cloud. Thank you guys so much for this super exclusive, and I mean super exclusive. Like there is literally like 2-3% of you guys in here that were in the Cloudy podcast. But I'm going to keep this going. Every Monday, I'm gonna break off and do one of these. So you guys, keep coming through, keep asking or requesting what you want me to talk about. This can be scary stories. This can be top fives. This can be personal paranormal parties. This can be. I'm trying not to do Protect Your Light because I think that I get so many messages about Protect Your Light helping people throughout the day. Like a scary story ain't gonna help you. It's just going to scare you, which is exciting. Protect Your Light. If you're going through something, I want everybody to be able to benefit from that. So I don't want to put any like money. I don't want somebody to not get a message because they didn't have enough money for it. You know what I mean? You guys are nice. You guys pay for this, which is crazy. So I want to make sure that you guys are entertained. So for sure, let me know what you guys want to see. But I don't want it to be anything that like you guys need to get through your day. Because I would never want you guys to pay for that. I want you guys to pay for extra stuff to keep you guys entertained throughout the day. You know what I mean? Never something that you guys need. If you feel like you need something that I supply in any way, especially the couple of you guys in here, message me personally. I feel like none of you guys should ever have to feel like, okay, once I pay for my next Patreon subscription, Patrick will come through. You know what I mean? I never want that for anybody here in this live, anybody on Patreon, or just any of my fans at all. Like if you guys feel like you need a message, or if you just like, yo, I need a Protect Your Light message. I need an aggressive positivity message. I need a personal message. I try to go through my messages. I get as many as I can, but I will try to give you guys whatever you feel like you need at any moment in time. So please just look at this Patreon thing as just an additional thing. Please don't ever feel like you have to do this to get something that I do that gets you through the day. I will give that to you for free forever. I don't care. I honestly don't care how big I get. I say this all the time. I think I have an interview coming out that I said this. I had a very interesting interaction with a girl in Target. This was a couple years ago. A couple years ago. I don't even. This might have been like one of the first few times I was ever recognized in public. But there's a girl in Target who told me that her sister was sick. I didn't ask how sick, but she said that every day she climbed in her hospital bed and pulled up my profile to see if I posted a new video. And that's when I knew. That's when when I becoming like a content creator, you look at the numbers of views and likes as just numbers, but that's when those numbers became people for me, not just numbers. So that's when I decided that no matter what I do, no matter how much I get paid, no matter how popular I get, I will always do content for free in some type of way. And I will always give content to you guys for free in some type of way, just for the base level, even if it were just for those two girls. Hopefully that girl is better now. I don't know. But if it's something that was consistent, I would just want to make sure that I gave back to them for free, for nothing. So if that's how it has to be, then that's how it is. And I just want to make sure that I at least give some of myself for free every single time. So I say all that to say that if you guys ever need, anybody on Patreon ever needs anything from me, feel like they actually need it, just message me. This Patreon thing, I appreciate it, but it's like, I'm not trying to drain you guys, for anything, whether it's time or money. So please let me know, send me a message. And if it's just on an entertainment tip, use Patreon or these Q&As to shoot me, yo, cover this. Yo, what do you know about this? Do a top 5 this. That's the point of Patreon, for extra stuff, not for the bare minimum ever. Okay? That's all I wanted to say. I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate that a lot. Well, not only do I appreciate those responses, I appreciate your guys' time. This was the first post Cloudy Podcast exclusive Patreon interview. I hope you enjoyed it. For any of you guys who were not able to join us right after the Cloudy Podcast, just know that every Monday at 12, I go live for the Cloudy Podcast, and then I'm going to stay after, maybe like 30 to 40 minutes afterwards, and go live for just you guys. I might do that another day of the week. I don't know yet. I don't know any of this stuff yet. So if there's something like, hey, if you have a suggestion, like go live on Monday at 12 and then do Patreon at Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, shoot me those. Shoot, you guys lasted this long. So I'm going to listen to you guys. So yeah, just let me know. Just let me know and we can build this shit together. Again, I've been Patrick Cloud, and I appreciate you guys way too much.